Good afternoon, and thanks for joining today's demo of NetSuite. My name's Steve, and I'll be your host today. As we start, I will share with you how you can communicate with our web staff today. You should see a GoToWebinar control panel on your screen. If you type your question into the question pane, at the end of the webinar today, we will answer any questions that you submit. I am very happy to be joined by another Steve M today, Steve Mowchan. Steve is a senior solutions consultant here at Terillium. He specializes in demonstrating the value of a few different ERP systems, and today Steve's going to be showing the NetSuite product. In case anyone hasn't heard of Terillium, I'll briefly introduce us. We're an ERP consulting firm. We specialize in implementing ERP projects. We've done that over 500 times and have had a lot of success in our ERP implementations. Even though those projects can be risky at times, we're very proud to have won awards like Customer Success Story of the Year, and give a lot of credit to our many very experienced consultants across the United States. We have about 170 full-time consultants specializing in various different ERP packages. We developed this webinar series to help customers who are considering new ERP implementations, new systems. That can be kind of a tough journey, and we thought this would be a good way to make the process a little easier. This morning we talked about effective ways to prepare for an ERP project. This afternoon we'll be showing NetSuite. Our next demo will be tomorrow morning at 11. We'll be showing we'll be showing ERP Cloud tomorrow morning at 11. And then the next demo after that is JD Edwards Thursday morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll continue by comparing the pros and cons of cloud and on-premise ERP systems. And then Thursday afternoon, our president, Dave Woodworth, is going to share his experience with ERP project success factors. I'll introduce the NetSuite product, and then Steve will take over to show us a live demonstration. So with NetSuite, first and foremost is a philosophy. NetSuite was born in the cloud. It was designed to run an entire business. NetSuite's cloud first and cloud only, meaning it has all the tenets you would associate with a real cloud solution. You can access it from any device, anytime, anywhere. It's consumer-oriented, and we'll talk about what that means. It's really easy for anyone to pick up and use without a lot of training. It's built on a single data source. We call that the unified data model, and that's really key to enabling true business intelligence. This unified data model allows you to report and analyze your entire business end-to-end, real-time, without a need to build a complex data warehouse. That is all built into NetSuite. This is all built on what we call the Suite Cloud platform, and that lets you have a lot of personalization, customization, and development, all within a framework that gives you security, scalability, and globalization, and maybe more importantly, allows you to stay up to date with the latest versions of the software. In terms of what's in NetSuite, it has everything that you would think of as ERP, from finance and accounting. It has the things you're going to expect, like GL, AP, AR. Maybe some things that you don't expect, like tax management, cash management, some of the more advanced billing for project or service-related companies. It also has financial planning built into it for what-if analysis and budgeting. Financial reporting, I think, is a real strength of NetSuite, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. It also has a revenue management functionality built right in to handle things like recurring revenue, all of the new regulations surrounding revenue recognition. It is global, so multi-currency, multi-company, multi-language. On the operations side, things that you would expect like order management, order fulfillment, procurement, inventory. Within inventory, even more advanced things like warehouse management are built right into NetSuite. Production or manufacturing, same kind of thing there. NetSuite really is a pretty robust manufacturing solution that handles different types of manufacturing. I think that it particularly excels in scheduling manufacturing with finite capacity management, something that not every ERP system has. We talked a little bit about warehouse management and then also supply chain management. So a very robust operations platform. And then some things that go a little bit beyond traditional ERP, CRM, and not just the Salesforce pipeline management, but it also has marketing automation built right in. A lot of companies have to buy that separately, but NetSuite has that built in. And it does have HR and payroll built in for companies that choose to use that in their ERP system, as well as a complete projects functionality. From managing your projects to your people, billing all of that out, that's all built into NetSuite as well. On the reporting side, Steve Mowchan will show you this here in just a couple of minutes, but we talked about that unified data model. This is kind of the result of that with business intelligence built right into NetSuite. And Steve will kind of show you this in action, how this works. So just a few kind of statistical points on NetSuite. The first and now the #1 cloud ERP system. I'll tell you why we say that. That is because NetSuite has more than 40,000 customers around the globe, which is significantly more than the other ERP systems that we'll talk about this week. I think that's pretty impressive. The other thing about that, all 40,000 of those customers are on the same version of NetSuite. NetSuite does allow you, it has the platform that allows you to do the development, integrations, customizations, but NetSuite's built for that as a cloud solution. It allows those customizations to upgrade, and they all upgrade every time, excuse me, every time NetSuite has a new release, everyone upgrades to it. So we talk to our customers that are on other ERP systems that look at pretty expensive and disruptive upgrades in their business. With NetSuite, that upgrade is, I'm not going to say completely automatic, but nearly automatic. You're talking about a week's worth of work versus 6-9 months worth of work for traditional upgrades. And this slide kind of takes you through that to talk about how customization isn't a dirty word. So we can customize NetSuite, and those customizations upgrade with all the customers on the same version of the software. Okay, so with that brief introduction, I will now pass it over to Steve Mowchan, and Steve is going to start us off with a live demonstration in the software. Steve, welcome to the webinar.
Great. Thanks, Steve. And thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. My name is Steve Mowchan. As mentioned, I am a solutions consultant with Trillium. What I'm going to go through today is a navigation overview of NetSuite, giving you look and feel, how to move around, how to get to data within NetSuite, and then a simple order to cash scenario walkthrough where we will actually put transactions into NetSuite, and you can see the flow and look of the application. So you're looking at NetSuite. It's internet-based, so web browsers. You can get to it anywhere that you've got a Wi-Fi connection. Right now, I'm logged in as a CEO. NetSuite has come up with lots of pre-built, you can call them a dashboard or home pages. They are role-based. Again, I'm as a CEO, but there are others, and we'll see that through my order-to-cash demonstration as I play different positions in an organization, such as sales rep or warehouse manager. The CEO dashboard you're looking at, again, is going to be more high level. So there's going to be a lot of charts, a lot of BI type information. Take a look at the top of the screen. You've got key performance indicators. This KPI portlet, as NetSuite calls them, is not a BI tool. There's no BI tool, laying on top of NetSuite. This is all base NetSuite, and that's what Steve May was discussing. This is built by NetSuite, using NetSuite data, and no third-party tool. Look, you have receivables, inventory, expenses, income, all in one place. This is typically very difficult to get, especially so nice and organized. Again, one of the pre-built objects or pieces that you can get from NetSuite. Where did all this pre-built information and material come from? Well, there's 40,000 customers, and NetSuite was building, and NetSuite and consultants were building out these little portlets. So this information that was pre-built came from users. Okay, let's take a look around this screen. Now, there are various formats and layouts that you can have and configure by yourself. Let's take a look at, there's a personalization ability. So if I want to go in and add a KPI meter, I just went and did it. And oh, by the way, this is a separate KPI meter. Each of them, as you dig in, have multiple options. See how quick that was. You might look at this. Here's a reminders portlet. One of my favorite things with NetSuite, you can run your whole day on reminders. If I want the reminders to go back up in the upper left-hand corner, simple drag and drop. There's no IT needed. I don't need to do any builds. This is all permanent. Once I've moved it, it's set. It'll remember it next time I log in. This KPI meter. Same with all of these charts and functions that you see, or portlets that you see. I have the ability to print it, download it as different objects, whether it's an image or a PDF, easily transportable to a PowerPoint presentation. And again, all this data is real time that's behind all of these portlets. And if I want to remove it, very simple to remove. As we again take a look a little bit further around the CEO dashboard here, I've got what's called a Subsidiary Navigator. If you have a company with a lot of either sub-organizations or warehouses or multi-company global type organization, doesn't even have to be global, just with a lot of different divisions, the Subsidiary Navigator ties the data that you're seeing to what you're showing in the Subsidiary Navigator. For example, if we look at the CEO Financials portlet below the Subsidiary Navigator, it's got all a bunch of data on there. If I click on Canada, and I want to just show Canada, watch how everything in this dashboard updates and changes. So this kind of controls everything that you're seeing. You can quickly get at a glance a look into how one of your divisions is doing. Each of these graphs themselves are interactive. If I want to take away this steel roof panel because I want to get a little better view of the rest of the data, I can do that. If I'd like to drill in all of these to one of these or all of these reports. I can get at raw data and even drill down further. You see a little pop-up bubble, view transaction record. You can drill down to your heart's content with NetSuite. It always seems like there's another level to go, so you don't have to really kind of go pull up a bunch of different tabs or a bunch of different windows. You can continue down the path, digging into the data that you want to see. There are preferences by user. Again, we said this is a role-based login, which is also where you get your security from. But there are still preferences by user, whether they're format or localization, appearance, different transaction and alerts. But what I wanted to really point out here was all of these different labels that you see, not only here during preferences, but anywhere in any application. If you hover over one of these labels, you get a little question mark that pops up on your cursor. And you get field help. It's over every one. Again, the nice thing here is that the field help is actually helpful. They actually just put some effort into this. That's not the case with every ERP system I've seen. So it really does give you help. And there are additional help through NetSuite. You've got a much more broad help available if you want to key in questions or different functions you want to look at, functionality. Note again, so all this is customizable by user within the role. You might note that I can continue and put many more portlets. I don't just have to show what's at the top of the screen. I can continue and add things until I feel I've got everything I want to see. And you can edit from here also, all of these different portlets. So what you need to understand is that what you see can be easily changed, easily added to, easily customized. I don't need IT, so there's no bottleneck. You know, all these graphs turn into reports. Don't have to wait for IT to get to your report. Typically, you're looking at super users and stuff who can create these, but really you can get all down to the end user level. Another thing that's great is the ability to quickly navigate around the screen or around NetSuite, around the applications. There's stuff everywhere to make your day more efficient, improve your productivity. I drop down here what's called a new bar. It means if I want a new event or a new phone call, task, a new invoice, new expense report, a new customer. Again, I can personalize this to quickly jump and go in to add anything that I feel I want in my new bar. There are recent records. Should you walk away from your desk, how often do you get interrupted with a phone call or have to leave your desk to a meeting or whatever, and maybe you log off? As you log back on, what was I doing? What invoice was I working with? Oh yeah, let's take a look at recent records. And there's favorites. You might use them, you might not. There is a portlet for your actual applications that you use on a daily basis, and that's this navigation portlet. We'll use that in a little bit. We'll see some more. We'll see some more about how you navigate around as I go through the order to cash demo. Again, all these charts, different options to them. So it's not just one graph you're looking at. There's kind of many within one. Very nice. Reminders. To add a reminder. Look, again, you've got many of them that are pre-built. But if I want to add invoices overdue, save it, done. Look how quick that was. So lots of invoices overdue. Maybe that wasn't such a good thing to show you. I'm not doing my job. As you move around also, as we get now closer to how to dig into and update data, I'm going to go into my favorites and pull up list of customers. So as you go to view and update data, I'm going to bring up a list of customers, and it might be like any other system where you see kind of a Excel spreadsheet layout with rows and columns. One thing I want to point out here, let's say I had a sales rep and I wanted to change Alex Wolf or Sue Stacy. I wanted to change their rep because they've left the company. I have links. I can hot link into things. I could go into each one and edit each one. But this is absolutely something I've only seen in NetSuite. I'm going to turn on the edit capability on this screen, on this application. So as I turn on the edit capability, you will see pencils and erasers on top of each column. These are now inline editable. Let me show you. So I want to change Sue Stacy. Now when I click on Sue Stacy, it opens up that field. So if I want to change that to Steve Golden, I'm not done yet. I'm going to Control, select, and as I tab out, note all three records changed. I did not need to go into each one individually. I did not need to change each individually. All I did was make one change and then did a Control select. How efficient is that? I hope you understand how quickly and how easily you can get tasks accomplished. You don't have to search for each of these individually and go into each customer and make the change, find the field to make the change. You can do it right here on the list. Again, haven't seen this anywhere else in any other ERP. Very fantastic functionality. There are search capabilities. You probably saw the search field up top. That's what this is. It's a global search throughout NetSuite. You know, if I want to type in Bob, I get opportunities that have Bob, a customer that might have Bob, contact names, vendors. I could put a number in there that might show me an invoice, on and on. If I want to limit it to just customers with Bob, I prefix with CUS. And again, if I continue then typing, it'll continue to limit and filter for me. And this filtering ability is available on all of your lists and reports. And obviously quickly then I could go to edit that customer or to that customer dashboard. Links, 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 and drill down everywhere. All right, well, that's kind of an overview on what, how you get around and what you have at your disposal. Let's go into an order to cash. We're first going to take a look. We've got CEO financials. Sales for today, we have $0. All right, so I'm going to go in and put in a sales order. First, what I'm going to do is change over to my sales rep role. This is telling me that there is administrator message that there is some maintenance going on this weekend. So my demo environment will not be available Saturday. It means no demoing on Saturday. Cool. All right, so look, different colors, different layouts, different portlets, different reminders. Reminders, again, will be important as we go through this setup here, in this scenario. I'm going to go to my new bar, and I'm going to select a sales order to go into add mode. Again, note that you might have similar things like a navigation portlet, but now this one has sales. So I could have also gone in to sales transactions this way, as opposed to going into the sales order itself and bringing up a brand new sales order. Okay. You got header fields, you have some sub tabs. I want to type in my customer. I can do a drop-down list. I can create a new customer from here. I can do searches. But my favorite part is that I can just start typing the customer name if you know the customer name. In this case, I was looking for Euler Corporation, and just by starting to type Euler, it allowed me to select it. Again, nice that you don't need a customer number. How many customers call in and know their customer number? They know their name, or they should know their name, but they may not know their customer number. If I want to enter a PO, of course I can do that. So I will enter a PO. I could default a location. Note that I have payment terms that defaulted to net 30. We'll see later on when we apply cash that there wasn't any discount available because it's just net 30. We have a summary of the order. Then we have additional sales information and some sub-tabs down here that allow you to go in and, besides adding items, in fact, I'll add an item here. As you would guess, you just start typing the item itself, and as you continue to type the item name, it filters for you. Note that it shows me availability, pricing, whether or not it's taxable, and tax rates if it was taxable. So I'm getting a subtotal up here. If I wanted, let's save this. If I wanted, I could go in and do shipping, take a look at shipping method and carrier, get my shipping cost now if I wanted to do that. Shows me my shipping address if I needed to override that for any reason. This ties to CRM. If I had an opportunity that the sale was related to, I could tie it back to that. So there are lots of fields in here that I'm not going to go into today, but just note that you do have the ability to do a lot more than just the simple sales order entry that I've done. Here's promotions if you had sales promotions going on that you wanted to see. Confirmation that I've entered the order. You see now it quickly tells me that it's pending fulfillment, which is kind of nice. So I know exactly what status and what is next. And I want to show this. So it already did an order confirmation that it sent out via email. So it sent that to me. Note here, we've got a big blue button that says fulfill. I can make this so simple that you could have the same user do multiple roles. Depending how large your organization is, you might have someone covering for someone else, for another person who's on vacation, or you might have somebody doing multiple roles. You can make it very simple to move a sales order through the system or any process in NetSuite. I'm not going to do that today, but just wanted to show you how easy that was. So we've got an order number 18935. I'm going to switch over now to warehouse operations and fulfill this order. Hey, Orange. orange for the warehouse. Look, reminder, orders to fulfill. How I run my day. Orders to receive, orders to pack. I'm just doing a simple fulfillment, which is going to be a pick, pack, ship all together. You could certainly separate those out and have multi-steps using RF scanning equipment if you decided to do that. And I was filtering by a particular location and warehouse, so I'm going to not filter by that so I can remember we did not use a particular location. So I'm going to click on fulfill. These are all the orders here listed that need to be fulfilled right now. I don't need to do these individually. First of all, I could select several at one time or do one individually like I am, or I could have this be a scheduled job that runs once or multiple times during the day that fulfills everything that it can that's ready to be fulfilled. So here, currently it doesn't say I have any on hand because I have not chosen a location. As soon as I choose a location, it says I've got 132 on hand. I am going to ship the quantity of 5 that was ordered. So I am going to ship all 5 of those. And again, you see the fields that had we wanted to do that, we could have created added a shipping cost or handling cost based on carrier and mode of transport if we had wanted to do that. So it's done. Very simple. And there's my shipment confirmation telling the user or the customer that my order had been fulfilled and how many I sent. So now it's fulfilled. Now we're going to head over to controller. And we're going to invoice the customer. Well, where do you think I'm going? I'm going to reminders, sales orders to invoice. Just like operations, reminders can basically prompt you, what am I supposed to be doing? Where are the critical needs for my daily activities? So I'll select sales orders to invoice and bring up, as you might guess, a list of sales orders that need an invoice. Again, note that my controller here has different color scheme. Also has KPIs similar to the CEO. So just like the fulfillment, invoicing does not have to be done 1 at a time, 5 at a time, 10 at a time. You could let this run on a schedule and automatically invoice orders as they are fulfilled or shipped. One thing I want to point out here as I go into the invoice application, looks pretty much the same as you've seen before. I love this about NetSuite. Entering an order, completing the fulfillment, creating the invoice. Look and feel with the header information at the top with the summary, then your sub-tabs down below. You learn one application, you kind of know where everything is for all the rest of the applications. So the learning curve is short. This is really, really good for end users. You feel comfortable immediately. Okay, we've gone ahead and confirmed that invoice. Now, I'm going to go into my recent records. I'm going to go into that invoice. We can pretend that We've moved ahead 1 month. We now have payment to apply. Or we can pretend that the customer paid immediately after they were invoiced. So you know which of those is more easily believable, that we've moved ahead a month in time, I think. Okay, so I'm in an invoice. I'm going to accept payment, big blue button, making it very obvious what's next. So I brought up now this customer's account. I'm planning on just paying the one invoice, the $64.95, the one I selected payment from. Note, again, discount taken 0, because it was just net 30. There wasn't any discount available. If I wanted to change the payment amount and they gave me a $500 check, I could do that. I could have it auto apply to either ones that I specifically selected or auto apply to the oldest outstanding invoices based on the amount of money that I put in the payment. So again, really flexible here on how you apply your payments. It's all very straightforward and very simple. Done. Deposited. Hooray! As we wrap up the order to cash scenario, let's go back to the CEO. Now, the CEO financials updates every time I log on to the system, or I can update it using a refresh button. Remember, sales were 0. So I'll refresh this, and now sales are 65. Again, this is real-time data throughout NetSuite. That's where that integrated bit comes into play. Didn't need any batch jobs to run to update anything. Didn't need any interfaces. Guess what? Looks like you can drill down into the $65. You certainly can. There's my one transaction. And I can drill down further into a detail report. And I could drill down further all the way into that actual transaction or into the invoice where I now see it's paid in full. So we've come full circle. NetSuite has all that drill down capability that really makes it easy to go get at data, to get at information, which is everywhere that I'm at where I'm working with users. That's what they want. Give me something easy to get to, give it quick, make it simple. All right, at this point I'm finished with the order to cash demo, and we'll throw it back to Mr. May for some final comments.
Yeah, nice job with that demonstration, Steve. Thank you very much for showing that. I'll remind everyone watching that if you have other questions, please submit those in your questions pane, and Steve and I would be happy to try and answer anything that you submit to us. So, Steve, we do have a few here. A couple of these I think I can take, and then I might need your help with one or two here. So the first question was, how long does it take to implement NetSuite? So that's one of the strengths of NetSuite, I think, is that it does implement much quicker than other ERP solutions that Terillium implements. So we typically see the NetSuite implementation time frame. The fastest is about 3 months. More complex projects may go into the 9-month time frame. So that, from what we're used to historically, is pretty fast. When we look at the other ERP solutions that we do, we typically start a fast project at about 6 months, and those could go to 12 plus months. So 3 to 9 compared to 6 to 12, NetSuite implements much quicker. NetSuite also has a methodology called Suite Success that allows you to start with a best practices model. It's actually a product that's available for purchase. It's not just a marketing paper or a methodology, but it's actually a product with built-in configurations, built-in custom reports, built-in dashboards that allows you to start a little faster, even maybe than the range that I gave you. That translates typically into 25 to 50% savings in terms of implementation dollars over some of the other ERP systems that we're used to. I've heard that cloud solutions are not able to be customized. So NetSuite is built on a platform of tools that do allow you to customize everything from easy things like personalizing labels on a screen to more advanced things like creating new screens, creating scripts that do things with the data behind the scenes, obviously reports. So there is a customization tools kit available in NetSuite that you can use. The other thing about NetSuite when it comes to customizing is integration. So NetSuite, like other ERP systems, can integrate either from a batch integration perspective, a manual import, or an automated integration, real-time integration. But what I think makes NetSuite a little bit different from some of the other ERPs that we're used to is, kind of like in the CRM world, everybody integrates to Salesforce. Well, in the Cloud ERP world, everybody integrates to NetSuite. So if you have a third-party system or another point solution that you're using, chances are there's already an integration built for NetSuite that vendor provides. So I think that makes NetSuite a little bit more unique. What does NetSuite do better than others? So Steve, this is where you may want to chime in here. A couple of things that I could speak to. One, financial reporting. I think that NetSuite has, through its dimensions in the GL structure, has a little bit more flexibility than what I've seen in some of the other ERP packages, which leads you to be able to report easier. Plus, the NetSuite reporting tool has different, more functionality that allows you to do things like real-time. If, let's say you run a P&L, in real time, you can flip that P&L to different departments. You can look at your P&L by customer, by item. All of that flexibility is kind of built into NetSuite, which is different than financial reports that I'm used to in other ERP systems. NetSuite has built-in capability to work with handhelds in your warehouse or on your shop floor. Some ERP systems require a third party to do that. NetSuite does not. NetSuite has a built-in web storefront capability, so you can build out your e-commerce, your storefront right within NetSuite. That I think is very unique. And I think, as Steve showed, the user interface to me is pretty intuitive compared to some of the other ERP solutions. I don't know, Steve Mowchan, if you have anything to add to that. You've seen NetSuite and a bunch of other ERPs. Are there things that stand out to you in terms of making NetSuite different?
Yeah. Well, you kind of touched on the first of 2 points that I'll make. The ability to have access to this pre-built material and the user interface such that you can quickly build or use a dashboard that allows you to help run your day or help manage your day and have access to lots of great data at your fingertips is one with the built-in dashboards and the customizable options. The second being the point that I also quickly made during the demo, the applications have a similar layout for look and feel, so you can kind of understand how to navigate each application once you've learned one. That to me is huge, that you don't have to go in search of where do I need to go to find this, or where might the data be hiding in this application. So you've got your header broken up with your sub-tabs, and it's all easily searchable and easy to find.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Steve. Okay, so another question here. Does it have a sales configurator for make-to-order items? That is one area of the software that NetSuite has allowed partners to build out solutions, and there are several. You know, some of the more popular ones that you've probably heard of, Configure One and other configurators like that, are pre-integrated to NetSuite. So while NetSuite doesn't handle configuration natively, almost all of the configurators out there that you could think of are pre-integrated to NetSuite. So that's definitely an area of the software that NetSuite's left to the partners to integrate to. Okay, well, that looks like those were all of the questions that were asked. So thank you all for submitting those and interacting, and we appreciate your participation. And hopefully this was a good use of time for everyone today. Again, tomorrow we'll be showing the Oracle ERP Cloud product, and Thursday the JD Edwards product, with sessions in between there to talk about different aspects of ERP implementations. So thank you all for your time today, and have a great afternoon.